If you are watching this right now, it means something inside you is tired of being ordinary, tired of waiting for permission, tired of feeling that your life has more potential than your current results are showing. And that feeling is not weakness. It is the strongest signal a human being can receive, because it means your soul is knocking on the door of your future and asking you to open it before time runs out. I know this feeling very well, because I've lived most of my life being told that I was not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, not successful enough. And yet here is the truth nobody tells you early enough. Unstoppable people are not born. They are built quietly, painfully, daily, through habits so small the world laughs at them, until one day the world is forced to bow to them. To become unstoppable, you must first understand that talent is overrated, luck is misunderstood, and success is deeply unfair, but not in the way you think. Life does not reward the best ideas. It rewards the strongest believers. Life does not follow logic, it follows persistence. Most people lose not because they fail, but because they stop too early. They quit when the road becomes lonely, when results are invisible, when nobody is clapping. The unstoppable person keeps going when motivation disappears, because they are no longer driven by feelings. They are driven by habits. Habits are silent, habits are boring, habits do not make headlines, but habits decide destinies. The first habit that separates unstoppable people from the rest is their relationship with the morning. While others negotiate with the alarm clock, unstoppable people negotiate with their dreams. They wake up not because they feel energetic, but because they feel responsible. They understand that the early hours are not just time, they are an advantage. In those quiet moments, the world is not competing with you. Nobody is distracting you, nobody is doubting you, and that silence becomes power. It is not about waking up early to impress anyone. It is about waking up early to impress yourself, to prove that you are in control of your life before the world starts demanding pieces of you. The second habit is the way unstoppable people talk to themselves when nobody is listening. Most people are destroyed by their own internal voice long before life even gets a chance to test them. Unstoppable people are not always confident, but they are intentional. When they fail, they do not say, "I'm finished." They say, "I'm learning." When they are slow, they do not say, "I'm stupid." They say, "I'm improving." They understand that the brain believes what it hears repeatedly, so they become very careful about the words they use inside their own mind. This is not motivation. This is programming. Your future listens to how you speak about yourself today. The third habit is the discipline of doing small things consistently, especially when they seem meaningless. Most people want to change their life in one dramatic moment, one big opportunity, one lucky break. But unstoppable people fall in love with repetition. They understand that success is not built in public, it is built in private, in routines nobody applauds. Reading a few pages every day, learning a little more than yesterday, improving a skill 1% at a time. These actions look weak in the short term, but in the long term they become unstoppable force. Water does not break rocks because it is strong, it breaks them because it never stops. The fourth habit is the courage to face rejection without losing identity. Unstoppable people are rejected more than average people, not less, because they try more, they ask more, they fail more. The difference is that they do not let rejection define their worth. They understand that when someone says no, it is not a verdict on their future, it is just feedback on the present. Rejection becomes data, not drama. Failure becomes a teacher, not a prison. When you stop taking things personally, you become powerful, because nobody can control you with fear anymore. The fifth habit is learning faster than others complain. While most people waste energy blaming the economy, the system, the family, the past, unstoppable people invest energy into understanding. They read when others scroll. They listen when others argue. They observe when others judge. They know that in a world that changes every day, the most dangerous thing is not failure, it is refusing to learn. The moment you believe you already know enough, life will move ahead without you. Unstoppable people stay humble because humility keeps the mind open and the future possible. The sixth habit is the ability to delay pleasure for a greater vision. Unstoppable people enjoy life, but they do not let comfort steal their future. They understand that every yes has a cost and every no has a reward. Saying no to distractions today is saying yes to freedom tomorrow. Saying no to excuses is saying yes to growth. This habit is painful because it means choosing effort over entertainment, discipline over comfort, purpose over popularity. But this pain is temporary, and the regret of not becoming who you could have been is permanent. The seventh habit is emotional resilience in the face of uncertainty. Unstoppable people accept that fear will always exist, doubt will always whisper, and failure will always be nearby. The difference is that they move anyway. They do not wait to feel ready because they understand that readiness is a myth created by fear. Growth happens when you step into discomfort repeatedly. Why? Until discomfort becomes familiar. Confidence is not built by thinking. It is built by surviving what you once thought would destroy you. As these habits compound day after day, something remarkable happens. You stop chasing motivation and start becoming momentum. People around you may not notice at first because real change is quiet, but you will feel it. You will feel stronger when life tries to bend you. You will feel calmer when chaos surrounds you. You will feel clearer when others are confused. And slowly, opportunities will start appearing, not because the world changed, but because you did. Remember this deeply. The world does not owe you success, but it will reward commitment. You do not need approval to begin. You need courage to continue. Every great journey looks impossible at the start, chaotic in the middle, and obvious at the end. The only real tragedy is not failing. It is never trying because you were afraid of looking foolish. Unstoppable people accept that embarrassment is temporary, but regret lasts forever. If today you feel behind, if you feel lost, if you feel tired, that does not mean you are weak. It means you are human. What matters is not how many times you fall, but how quickly you return to your habits. Habits are your anchors in the storm. They keep you moving when emotions try to stop you. They remind you who you decided to become when motivation fades. Your life is not defined by one decision, one failure, or one success. It is defined by what you choose to do repeatedly when nobody is watching. Become loyal to your process, not addicted to your results. Results will come, but only if you stay long enough to meet them. One day people will call you lucky, overnight success, unstoppable. But only you will know the quiet mornings, the lonely nights, the self-doubt, the discipline, the habits that built a future others could not see yet. This is not about being better than others. It is about being better than yesterday. This is not about perfection. It is about progress. The moment you commit to these daily habits, you may not feel unstoppable immediately, but you will become impossible to stop. Because consistency beats intensity, patience beats talent, and belief beats fear every single time. And when you begin to live this way, something subtle yet powerful starts to shift inside you. You stop asking life for permission, and you start asking yourself better questions. Not why is this happening to me, but what is this preparing me for? Not why am I struggling, but what strength is being built in me through this struggle? Ancient wisdom has always told us that pressure produces endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not disappoint. This is not poetry. This is a formula. Every season of resistance you face is shaping you into someone who can carry greater responsibility without breaking. Unstoppable people understand that delays are not denials and silence is not abandonment. There are moments when you do everything right and nothing seems to work. When you pray, plan, prepare, and still the doors remain closed. In those moments, most people assume they are forgotten. But those who become unstoppable understand a deeper truth. Sometimes the delay is protection. Sometimes the closed door is mercy. Sometimes the waiting is training you to handle what you ask for without losing yourself. Just because you cannot see progress does not mean progress is not happening. There will be days when your energy is low and your faith feels thin. On those days, unstoppable people do not rely on emotion. They rely on conviction. They remember the promise they made to themselves when they were strong, and they honor it even when they feel weak. This is where many people fail, not because they lack ability, but because they break agreements with themselves. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you rebuild trust with your own soul. And self-trust is one of the rarest and most powerful forms of confidence. Unstoppable people also learn to walk alone without feeling lonely. They understand that not everyone is meant to go where they are going, and not everyone can see what they see. When your vision grows, your circle may shrink, and that is not punishment, that is alignment. Even the scriptures remind us that the path of growth is narrow, and few choose it. not because it is wrong, but because it requires sacrifice. When you stop needing constant validation, you gain something far more valuable, inner peace and direction. As you continue forward, you will notice that challenges become more complex, not easier. This is a sign of growth, not failure. Life does not test you to destroy you, it tests you to reveal you. Each new level demands a new version of you, one with more patience, more wisdom, more restraint. What once overwhelmed you will no longer shake you, and what once scared you will no longer stop you. You begin to realize that strength is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. There is also a quiet habit unstoppable people develop, one that few talk about, and that is gratitude in the middle of unfinished work. They do not wait for the final victory to be thankful. They are grateful for lessons, for opportunities, for growth, even for setbacks that taught them discipline. Gratitude keeps the heart soft, while ambition keeps the mind sharp. Together, they protect you from arrogance on the way up and bitterness on the way down. A grateful heart sees abundance even in scarcity. Why? And abundance always attracts more. Unstoppable people respect time because they understand it is the only resource that never returns. They stop wasting it on comparison, gossip, and resentment. They forgive quickly, not because others deserve it, but because their future deserves peace. Carrying anger is like trying to run with weights tied to your legs. Letting go does not make you weak, it makes you free. And freedom is essential if you want to move fast and far. As you grow stronger, you will also be tempted to settle, not for failure, but for comfort. Comfort is far more dangerous than struggle, because it whispers that you have done enough when you are only halfway there. Unstoppable people remain hungry, not for applause, but for impact. They ask themselves how they can serve more, contribute more, build something that lasts beyond them. They understand that a life focused only on self will always feel empty, no matter how successful it looks from the outside. There is a truth echoed through generations of wisdom. Those who are faithful in small things are trusted with greater things. This is not about luck or favoritism, it is about preparation. When you show up consistently for small responsibilities, life quietly notes that you can be trusted with bigger ones. Every ordinary day is an audition for an extraordinary future. How you treat today determines how tomorrow treats you. Eventually, you reach a point where setbacks no longer shock you. You expect resist, tense, and because you expect it, you are not discouraged by it. You stop seeing obstacles as signs to turn back and start seeing them as confirmations that you are on the right path. Easy roads rarely lead to meaningful destinations. The fact that it is hard often means it is worth it. And then there comes a moment, not dramatic, not announced, but deeply personal, when you realize you are no longer the person who started this journey. Your reactions have changed. Your priorities have changed. Your tolerance for excuses has disappeared. You no longer need to prove yourself to anyone because you have proven yourself to yourself. This is the moment you become truly unstoppable, not because you control the world, but because you have learned to control your response to it. From here on, your responsibility grows. Not to be perfect, but to be consistent. Not to be loud, but to be solid. Others will begin to draw strength from your discipline, courage from your calm, hope from your persistence. Whether you realize it or not, your life becomes a message, and every day you live is a sermon without words. What you do in silence will speak louder than anything you say in public. Keep going, even when progress feels slow. Keep believing, even when results are delayed. Keep building, even when nobody notices yet. The seeds you are planting now will grow in their season, and when they do, they will not only change your life, they will change the lives of people who watched you quiet. They refuse to give up. People who learned what was possible simply by watching you endure, rise, and continue walking forward with faith, discipline, and an unbreakable spirit. There will be moments ahead when success begins to show its face. And this is where a different kind of test appears. Failure tests your persistence, but success tests your character. When doors start opening and people start listening, unstoppable people remember where they came from. They stay grounded because ancient truth reminds us that pride comes before the fall, but humility attracts favor. They understand that elevation is not a reward to relax, it is a responsibility to grow deeper roots so the next storm does not uproot them. As your influence expands, your discipline must expand even more. What once required effort will now require wisdom. Not every opportunity is meant for you, and not every invitation deserves your yes. Unstoppable people learn discernment. They understand that being busy is not the same as being effective. They choose alignment over applause, purpose over pressure. They know that even good things can distract you from the right thing, and guarding your focus becomes a sacred duty. There is also a quiet transformation that happens when you stop needing to be understood by everyone. Ancient wisdom teaches that even truth was misunderstood before it was accepted. Unstoppable people make peace with being misjudged. They no longer waste energy explaining themselves to people. Who are committed to misunderstanding them. They let consistency speak. Time becomes their advocate. Character becomes their defense. And slowly, truth reveals itself without argument. In seasons of abundance, unstoppable people practice restraint. They remember that what grows too fast without structure collapses under its own weight. They save when they can spend. They listen when they can speak. They observe when they can react. They understand that wisdom often whispers while ego shouts. This restraint protects them from losing tomorrow because of today's excitement. There will also be seasons when your strength is required not for building, but for enduring. When you are doing the right things and still facing resistance. When prayers feel unanswered and progress feels distant. In those moments, Scripture-inspired truth reminds us that faith is the substance of things hoped for, even when evidence is absent. Unstoppable people hold onto that substance. They do not let temporary silence rewrite eternal promises. They keep walking even when the road is dimly lit, trusting that clarity often comes after commitment, not before it. At some point, you realize that your greatest battle was never with the world, but with the version of yourself that wanted comfort more than calling. And when that battle is won, peace enters your life in a new way. Not the absence of problems, but the presence of confidence. Confidence that whatever comes, you will adapt. Whatever breaks, why? Who will rebuild? Whatever ends, you will begin again with greater wisdom. Unstoppable people stop fearing loss because they understand that nothing valuable is ever truly lost. It is transformed. Lessons replace mistakes. Strength replaces pain. Direction replaces confusion. Even heartbreak becomes insight. Nothing is wasted when you refuse to quit. Everything serves you when you stay teachable. As your journey continues, you will notice that your standards rise. You no longer tolerate environments that drain you, conversations that weaken you, or habits that pull you backward. This is not arrogance. It is stewardship. You are protecting the life you are building. You are honoring the sacrifices you made to get here. You understand that growth requires separation, and separation requires courage. And quietly, without announcement, you become the kind of person younger you needed to see. Someone who kept going when it was hard. Someone who stayed honest when it was tempting to cut corners. Someone who believed when doubt was louder than hope. Your life becomes proof that discipline works, that patience pays, that faith carried through action produces results over time. The journey does not become easier, but you become stronger. The questions do not disappear, but your fear of them does. You stop rushing seasons and start respecting timing. You understand that harvest comes after planting, and planting always looks like nothing at first. But you plant anyway, day after day, habit after habit, choice after choice. And so you continue forward, not chasing applause, not fearing silence, not depending on mood, but anchored in truth, guided by discipline, strengthened by belief, knowing that what you are becoming matters more than what you achieve, and that the quiet work you are doing now is shaping a future that will one day stand as living evidence of what happens when a person refuses to give up, refuses to lose faith, and refuses to stop growing, even when the road stretches longer than expected. And as you move further along this path, you begin to recognize a sacred responsibility in the way you carry yourself. You understand that strength without compassion becomes arrogance, and ambition without integrity becomes emptiness. Ancient truth has always taught that what you gain means nothing if it costs you your soul. So unstoppable people guard their inner life as carefully as they pursue their outer success. They check their motives, refine their intentions, and make sure that growth does not turn into greed. There will be moments when doing the right thing feels costly, when honesty slows you down, when kindness is misunderstood as weakness, when patience delays recognition. In those moments, unstoppable people remember that short paths often lead to long regrets, while narrow paths lead to lasting peace. Scripture-inspired wisdom reminds us that a good name is worth more than riches, and inner peace is worth more than applause. So they see whose character, even when nobody is watching, knowing that unseen choices shape visible outcomes. As time passes, you start to see life differently. You stop reacting to every storm because you trust the foundation you have built. You stop panicking over temporary losses because you understand seasons. Winter does not mean death, it means preparation. Roots grow deeper when the surface looks lifeless. And when spring comes, growth happens naturally, without force, without struggle, because the groundwork was done in silence. Unstoppable people also learn the power of stillness. In a world addicted to noise, they make space to reflect, to listen, to realign. They understand that direction is more important than speed, and clarity is more valuable than motion. Even ancient wisdom speaks of being still to gain understanding, not because movement is wrong, but because movement without purpose leads nowhere. Stillness sharpens vision. Vision strengthens action. There will be moments when others try to pull you back into old versions of yourself, old expectations, old limits, old fears. Not always intentionally, sometimes simply because change makes people uncomfortable. Unstoppable people do not argue with this resistance. They outgrow it. They allow distance without bitterness and growth without guilt. They understand that becoming more does not mean dishonoring the past. It means honoring the future. As your confidence matures, it becomes quieter. You no longer need to ounce your plans or defend your progress. You let your consistency speak. You let your calm unsettle doubt. You let your results arrive in their own time. Ancient truth reminds us that boasting invites opposition, but humility invites grace. So you move forward with steady steps, grounded heart, and focused mind. You also begin to understand that setbacks are not interruptions. They are instructions. Each one reveals something that needs strengthening, adjusting, or releasing. Instead of asking why it happened, unstoppable people ask what it came to teach. This shift transforms frustration into wisdom and pain into preparation. Nothing breaks you when everything trains you. At this stage, fear still appears, but it no longer commands. Doubt still whispers, but it no longer decides. You have learned that courage is not the absence of fear, it is obedience to purpose despite fear. Scripture-inspired truth reminds us that strength is perfected in weakness, not because weakness is desirable, but because it forces dependence on discipline, faith, and perseverance rather than ego. And so your days become quieter but stronger. Your habits become simpler but deeper. Your focus becomes sharper but calmer. You are no longer chasing a version of success defined by others. You are building a life aligned with truth, resilience, and service. A life that can withstand pressure, carry responsibility, and remain rooted even as it rises. You continue walking this path not because it is not because it is fast, but because it is meaningful. Because every step is shaping someone who can stand firm in storms, remain generous in abundance, remain faithful in uncertainty, and remain disciplined when emotions fade. Someone who understands that becoming unstoppable was never about overpowering the world, but about mastering the self, honoring the journey, and staying committed to growth, even when the outcome is not yet visible. And somewhere along this road, you stop measuring your life by noise and begin measuring it by alignment. You notice that when your actions and values agree, your spirit feels lighter even when the work is heavy. Ancient truth has always reminded us that a divided heart weakens a person, but a focused heart multiplies strength. Unstoppable people simplify not because they lack ambition, but because they understand that clarity is power. They remove what drains them so they can invest fully in what builds them. You also begin to see that waiting is not wasted time when it is filled with preparation. Many rush ahead of their character and collapse under the weight of what they asked for. But those who become unstoppable learn to respect timing. They trust that what is meant to last is often delayed to mature. Scripture-inspired wisdom speaks of seasons appointed for every purpose. And when you honor those seasons, you stop fighting the process and start cooperating with it. There will be moments when you are tempted to compromise, to take easy shortcuts, to bend your standards just a little for faster results. This is a quiet test because nobody may ever know, but unstoppable people know. And they understand that every compromise weakens the foundation, even if the structure looks fine for a while. They choose the slower road with clean hands and a clear conscience, because peace is a currency that never loses value. As you continue, compassion deepens inside you. You stop judging others by where they are and start remembering where you came from. Strength no longer makes you harsh, it makes you patient. You understand that everyone is fighting something unseen. Ancient truth reminds us that mercy triumphs over judgment, and unstoppable people practice mercy not as softness but as wisdom. It keeps their hearts human while their discipline keeps them strong. You also learn to celebrate progress without becoming attached to praise. Gratitude replaces entitlement. You acknowledge growth without idolizing it. This balance protects you from becoming either arrogant or insecure. Scripture-inspired wisdom often reminds us to give thanks in all things, not because everything is good, but because gratitude keeps perspective intact when circumstances shift. At this stage, your focus turns inward again, not in doubt, but in refinement. You ask yourself harder questions. Are my habits still serving my future? Is my pace sustainable? Is my purpose clear? Unstoppable people regularly realign before life forces realignment upon them. They adjust early, quietly, intentionally, so they do not have to rebuild later. There will be days when you feel invisible again, when your growth seems unnoticed, when your effort feels unrecognized. These moments are not punishment, they are protection. Ancient wisdom reminds us that what grows in hidden places develops stronger roots. When your identity is no longer tied to recognition, your strength becomes independent of circumstances. You begin to understand that endurance is not about surviving storms with clenched fists, but about standing steady with an open heart. Hard seasons do not make you bitter, they make you better if you let them. Scripture-inspired truth speaks of refining fire, not to destroy, but to purify. And with each challenge, unnecessary fear burns away, leaving behind resilience and clarity. Your journey continues, step by step, habit by habit, choice by choice. Not rushed, not delayed, but committed. You no longer need guarantees to move forward. You have learned that faith is not certainty about outcomes, but certainty about direction. And that certainty carries you forward with calm strength, steady discipline, and a deep inner knowing that the path you are walking is aping you into someone who can carry whatever comes next without losing who they are becoming. And now, as you stand here at this point in your journey, understand this with absolute clarity. Everything you need to become who you are meant to be is already within you. It has been there through every failure you survived, every delay you endured, every quiet moment when you chose to keep going even though nobody noticed. You were not preserved through those moments by accident. You were being shaped, strengthened, prepared for a life that requires more courage, more discipline, and more faith than comfort ever could. Do not wait for life to feel easy before you commit fully. Easy seasons do not build strong people. Decide today that no matter how slow the progress looks, you will not return to who you used to be. Decide that your habits will speak louder than your excuses, your consistency louder than your doubts, your faith louder than your fear. Ancient truth has always reminded us that those who endure to the end are the ones who stand, not because they were never shaken, but because they refuse to let go. There will still be days when you feel tired, moments when the weight feels heavy, nights when the road ahead feels long. In those moments, remember how far you've already come. Remember the strength you did not think you had but somehow found. Remember the promises you made to yourself when you were desperate for change. Honor those promises now, not with words, but with action. Stand up again, show up again, choose discipline again, choose growth again. Let today be another quiet brick in the future you are building. Let your life become proof that persistence works, that integrity matters, that faith lived daily transforms ordinary people into forces that cannot be stopped. And when the world finally sees what you have been building in silence, when your strength becomes visible and your journey undeniable, let it be known not by what you say, but by how you stand, how you serve, how you continue forward with humility, courage, and unshakable resolve. carrying within you the calm confidence of someone who knows they did not give up, did not look back, and did not betray the process that made them who they are now becoming.